welcome back. As you can see, the tomatoes have been growing great since the last video. Checking back from the date of the original videos, it's been 70 days since I've planted these in the deep water culture rafts. These videos are sponsored in part by our Patreon contributors. Our top contributors are growpockets.com, greenlifeplanet.net, glassbottleoutlet.com, and trueaquaponics.com. Thanks for your support. You can see down in here I have some tomatoes that are ready for harvesting. So at 70 days plus maybe 20 or 30 days before they got transplanted, that gets to us about 100 days of time from seed to first fruit, which is usually about the general rule of thumb for tomato plants. Over the past couple weeks I filmed a whole bunch of videos, so let's take a look back at what I've been working on. I have one plant that is wilting up along the top. The lower section looks good, and from the research that I've done, most likely I have a bacteria wilt, which tends to hit the top part of the plant and work its way down. So we're going to check for that. There's a quick test to see if that's the case. It could be fungal. I did check the roots. They look all clean, so I don't think it's anything from the roots. Unfortunately, this is a plant that I've been demonstrating with most of my videos, so it could be from me disturbing it too much. I did take a big chunk out of here. It could have gotten an infection through this. It could have come up through the roots. We really just have no idea. But from what I understand, it's going to hurt to do this. They say just take a section of the stem, so we're going to cut off the whole top of the plant here and dip it in some water and see if there's anything that leaches into the water. The inside of the stem looks good. Sometimes you get some type of a bug that bores into it. I don't see that being the case either. So it's been about 10 minutes and I don't see anything milky coming out of the base of the stem, so perhaps it's not bacteria. Since I can't really determine what went wrong, for now I'm just going to leave it in here with it topped. Most likely it'll send up another sucker and I'll let that keep growing. The plant's already set some fruit, so I want to let that mature. If I do happen to see it start wilting any further down, I'll get a little bit more drastic and just remove the entire plant, so I don't want it spreading to the rest of the plants in the system. Getting a few spots of powdery mildew on the leaves, so I'll treat that with a mixture of water and bisodium carbonate, also known as baking soda. You can also use potassium bicarbonate, and that works fairly well too. After the mildew dies off, you usually end up with a black spot on the leaf, and then a few days later that section just turns brown. It's pretty much dead. So if the whole leaf is covered, you're better off just removing the entire leaf. As you can tell, the tomatoes have grown substantially. I originally had them tied up to this first cable here and then extended the lines up to one of the beams of the dome. So we'll take a look and see how I did that. So we'll set up a plumb bob so we can make sure we got these staples in the right spot. Roughly. Oops, it's a lot higher than I thought. Overall, the concept of this isn't too difficult. Basically, I put the wire staple up into the stud of the dome and then untied the existing twine from my support cable that's holding up the plant, and then tie the new twine in with the old twine, loop that up through the staple, and then back down to the support wire. I'm using that support wire as the main tie with a lot of extra string on there, so that way later on I can lower down the vines without having to climb all the way up to the top beam again. I can just untie it from the line, lower that vine down, and retie it without having to climb all the way up there. So this plant I've been treating a little bit differently. I've been wrapping the string around the stalk. I had a whole bunch of people actually ask me why I didn't do that, and this one I've been doing it just to experiment with. So essentially I have to move everything out of the way a little bit and wrap the string around it, and that helps to support it without tying all the other pieces of smaller string into it. However, with everything being so close together, the other plants, there's a high risk of breaking off all the branches, and I'm not overly thrilled about that. So I'm finding it's just quicker and easier for me to tie the strings on the other ones. But this one plant, since it's on the end, I can access it a little bit easier. I can experiment with just wrapping the string around it. One of the nice things about working with twine is that it decomposes with the plant. I can just toss it out with the plant in the compost. However, I wasn't really thinking all that well when I originally planted these, and with them contacting the water, and I put them in with the net pots, they also rot out very quickly. And so I've had several that have just broken off, and the plant's not really suspended very well. So I've been taking these and directly tying them to the stalk and supporting it that way. And now that this has been resupported, I can take this and pull the plant back up. You're amazed how much weight is really on one of these. So you definitely need a good sturdy string to hold it all up. Before I could finish stringing these up, I had one tomato string actually break from it being rotten at the bottom. It should be entertaining trying to get it back up into place. So I guess what I'll first do for this one is run a new string the whole length all the way down to the base. Not tie it off yet up here. And go back down and carefully relocate the ladder. Let the whole plant just lie on the ground. And now I'll try running the new string down through each of the loops that I've previously tied in. Try to keep it in a nice straight line so when it gets picked up it doesn't tug at any of the branches. Wrap it around the base a couple of times, and then tie it off. The base will become its own anchor. Now if all goes well, I should be able to just lift the plant up and hoist it right back into place. And there it is. Surprisingly, I didn't destroy it. This last tomato plant's looking pretty good. However, it's the one that had the wilting, and I had topped it, so it's not growing any higher. So there's not much need to continue it up any higher. Its stump is looking good, but because I had pruned all the suckers off, it's not going to continue growing. I might get lucky and another one comes in and if that's the case, I may let that grow up and let it keep growing upwards. Maintenance is starting to become a little bit more of a chore now that I have to bring my ladder in and climb up here. Still have suckers coming in, and I've been taking these off every 3 or 4 days now just because I don't want to have to keep climbing up here. So they're getting a little bit bigger, not really hurting anything. I'm still cutting off the large suckers that are coming in on the fruiting parts too. So far I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm actually keeping up with these. I get fairly lazy throughout the season with my tomatoes, and they really start getting all gangly and horrific. But so far, so good. There's always something about harvesting the first fruits of the season. That's a fairly average size. This one's a big one. That one looks really beautiful. Perfect tomato. Let's see what we get for a weight on these. That's 1 pound 6 ounces, or 637 grams. So that's not too bad for harvesting of just 4 tomatoes. So the tomato that I cut the top off a few weeks ago has stumped over nicely. It has some suckers coming in here. I'll let them grow a little bit bigger, and then whichever one is the more dominant one, I'll let it continue growing and start sending it up the string here. That's about it for now. I'm really happy with how these are doing. I'll check in again in 3 or 4 weeks and do another update video. But for now, we're going to be enjoying a bunch of tomatoes over the summer. Thanks for watching.